Hello, my friends. Jess here. Welcome. I'm so glad you're here. This is your weekly collective intuitive Reiki healing. This is for October 13th through the 19th, I believe. Just a reminder, I timestamp these, but when you're meant to find these, you find them, Just felt like that needed to be said on this one. If you're back, welcome back. I'm so glad that you found previous healing supportive. And if you're new, welcome. The way that these work is I normally pull 3 tarot cards. It sets the tone for that weekly healing. I do about 10 minutes of a Reiki healing and intuitive messages come up in the process. And if you're brand new to Reiki, it is a harmonious energy healing modality that will never deplete. It will never cause harm, has nothing to do with my energy at all. I just serve as a conduit and a channel, but it does have to do with your willingness to be open and just to receive what might come your way. That could be a lot of healing within the subconscious, that 90 to 95% of us that we're completely unaware of. And that could also be a lot of conscious sensations, temperature changes, tingles, epiphanies, emotional releases, all sorts of things. So, what is meant for you is meant for you. I think generally speaking, the biggest response that I get is that we feel a little bit more peaceful. We feel a little bit more centered, a little less scattered. We feel calmer, right? And we could all use a little bit more of that. But we do get pretty deep here sometimes. So if that's for you, welcome, welcome. So again, for those of you who are new, I do weeklies every Monday. I do a healing for each new and full moon. I do healings for the new zodiac seasons, and then also quarterlies for the solstice and the equinox. So with that said, I am in my final few days of offering equinox deals. One-on-one Reiki sessions and coaching sessions are 20% off if you use the code EQUINOX, and you can get a free month of my Equilibrium community, our self-love and spiritual school where we meet monthly and have a 24/7 access community chat where we really dive deep together. So just know that those are ending quite soon. All right. And with that said, where we are just in time, you can check out the fall equinox by the elements. Check out your sun, moon, rising, Venus, whatever you're drawn to. And then we're going to talk this week about the full moon that has already passed. But leading up to this new moon, keep in mind there will be a new moon healing, that one happening in Libra next week, and shortly after, most likely the next weekly. So you'll have a lot of healing coming your way. All right, guys. So speaking into the astrology and the energies now, talk about a full moon, huh? I don't know about you. Now, it was a full supermoon. So it was like more magnetized, it was stronger, but that was like, to me, eclipse potential energy. It was stronger than I imagined for a lot of us. And it's been kind of trickling throughout the week for a lot of us. I've mentioned before, these last 3 months of the year are really our most powerful. There's going to be a lot of endings and a lot of beginnings. And, don't get scared by that, because these can be internal endings and beginnings too. But I do know that a lot of us are going through deep transitions, or are going to continue to go through deep transitions spiritually, emotionally, physically, and mentally through the rest of the year, So not to say don't start anything new, but the energies, at the start of 2026 and specifically start of spring 2026 are going to be much more supportive for forward momentum. This is a really good time, though, for gestation and creative strategic planning and really building that vision and that dream. I know we're all in different phases right now, so there's no right or wrong here. I'm just speaking generally. But yeah, that full moon, it was in Aries. It was quite fiery, which is Aries, absolutely. And I know that a lot of people were feeling it. So drop a comment down below and let me know. And if you haven't checked out the full moon healing, that was a pretty powerful one. You can go ahead and check that one out and see how, that could possibly help you integrate a little bit more through those energies. And that brings me to this week. It really feels like this week is an integration period of the full moon while really preparing for this new moon. The new moon that's coming up in the following week in Libra, it's going to be setting a new 6-month cycle for us. That's what new moons do, so it's always nice to help to know where it falls in your house and things like that, so that you can really plant those seeds of intention and really consciously co-create in that work, rather than just, oh, it's happening in my house, what's going to happen? Remember, astrology, Reiki, tarot, all these things, none of it is fortune telling, right? It's just tapping into energies. All right. So with that said, we'll see if there's any new things to say, but big collective healing going on. I'm going to start pulling the cards for us, seeing for October 13th to the 19th, 3 for the collective. Well, that was quick. All right. Wow. Beautiful. I'm going to show the cards real quick. You know how I am. I'll get into the messages right away. So let's see these visuals first. We have the Ace of Cups. Whew. We have the Queen of Pentacles. I'm feeling a lot of energy in you guys already. Wow. We have the Eight of Cups. Now, can I already bring up endings and beginnings here? Couldn't be more obvious. Bottom of the deck is what we're really battling with the most. It's that Nine of Swords, the underlying anxiety, the replaying of tapes, the subconscious healing that's taking place. I keep feeling like a rumination or a repeating of cycles, or a, worry, just general worry. It doesn't have to be huge. That like daily low level worry all the time, it builds and it affects our bodies and our health. So yeah, that's definitely coming up. All right. I have a lot to say already. Let's prep for Reiki. Have a seat, lie down, do what feels best for you. You want to feel comfortable and you want to feel safe. Okay. So take a breath into your body and do just that. Focus on just being present with your body. Try not to go off into the abyss or into the ether. Sometimes that naturally happens and that's okay. But it's always really helpful when you come into your body. So let's take a moment to thank the Reiki for all the healing that's about to take place for the collective. I'm hearing tests. It feels like that's not something coming. It's something that we're either in right now, or the full moon brought about us, or leading up to the full moon really brought. A lot of us are being tested of those deep, either emotional cycles, negative thought patterns, limiting beliefs, or habits, like actual physical habits, where we've been doing lots of great work and the universe is going, cool. So here's a test to show us how that work's going to be applied. And it's so easy when those things happen to feel like they're setbacks. It's so easy because the linear brain will just immediately go to it's either down or up, right? And the truth is that we ebb and flow and we spiral and we wave, right? We're like a coil. And so the way I like to see tests is that spiral, if we look at it this way, it's like before all the work, the spiral was huge. It took a long time to learn the lesson and come back around. And then when we get tested again, it's smaller. And we get tested again and we're like, and then we get tested again, barely affected me. I completely understand. And not to say that we're going to walk around, being completely unaffected by things. You know, I'm a vast, vast believer in honoring our emotions and feeling deeply. But it's about knowing what's true, you know? And a good saying that I'm sure many of you have heard is that feelings aren't facts. So when we feel, and I guess I'm just really getting into feelings, we do have a lot of water here with this ending and beginning energy. When we feel deeply about something, or can have like an unexpected trigger event that causes a deep feeling, it can really... Sorry, I'm just feeling something. Yeah, it can really like bring us kind of off course, off the journey in a way. And it's not about, I don't know, I'm not being eloquent when I'm talking about this, because I'm actually picking up on kind of like a distracted energy here. And it's really pinpointed into my heart too. I'm lots of hypervigilance. Bear with me, guys. There's a lot of hypervigilance, moving too fast, impulsive, and it's all coming from fear and survival mode. So I'm really picking up on a nervous system thing here. And I think this is what's underlying. This is the subconscious energy. So we want to really pay attention to that, because beneath that, guys, is death. This is what are we releasing? And we are in big, big purge mode right now with this full moon. Now, kind of sandwiched in the middle of these two water energies is the Queen of Pentacles. Incredibly earthy, emotionally regulated, practical, the nurturer, who has all the answers, who has the solutions and gives them to you very calmly and just knows and doesn't have to explain herself. You know, it's this really beautiful, beautiful embodiment that feels like the advice card for you guys this week, of really being able to, yeah, it just keeps coming back to this energy of like, I don't need to explain myself because and not in an attitude way, right? I don't need to explain myself because I know the truth. And I'm feeling really at peace and calm with it. And I'm not going to allow outside external forces to shift that. Now, is that easier said than done, depending on your situation? Absolutely. But there's definitely something. Now, this, for some of you, could also be an energy that's around you that's helping for you to find that grounding. Because I'm also picking up on kind of like a teacher or mentor or... And by teacher, guys, it doesn't have to be formal. Like our children can teach us. I think you know what I mean by that, right? What are we learning this week? Interesting. So really beautiful, guys. The Eight of Cups is about walking away. And I feel like a lot of you, let's think about, what is this for you? What is this worry, this anxiety, this thing that's just kind of just become so habitual? I keep hearing the word habit. It's become so habitual. And even though you know it's unhealthy, it's just always been kind of like in your foundation, low level. This is old. These are things we learned as kids, you know. What is that for you? And it can be very general. You don't have to get really detail oriented and analytical. It's more about feeling the energetics of it. And this is about learning what it's going to take to walk away from that idea, from what is not serving you. I hear choices. What are the choices that you're making that you continue to make? Okay, I'm feeling this pretty emotionally now. What are the choices that you continue to make that are holding you back? Wow. Because here's what's beautiful, guys. Your new beginning card is specifically a self-love card as well. It's quite literally about you pouring your own cup, about receiving the love and the energy from the heavens, right? This is, yeah. For some of you, just specifically and clearly, the message is that we have to finally release the toxic shame, the negative critic, really finally come into an embodiment of what true self-love feels like to us. I'm feeling this in my throat chakra, and still just this very pinpointed area in my heart. Interesting. But as I started to sink into the self-love and releasing toxic shame, the throat is starting to burn. So that is definitely a deep truth for some of us. I mean, this is why it's the work that I do. For those of you who are new, my coaching is specifically rooted in self-love. My Equilibrium community is specifically rooted in self-love because I believe it's the unavoidable journey. We're either going to choose to dig into it or we won't. And then what that choice is for us will directly affect everything around us. And we'll see how our life unfolds. But a big part of that, guys, is the definition of self-love and what that means. If this stuff is speaking to you and you're newer and maybe you haven't heard me talk about it because I haven't mentioned it in a while, I have a free course down below, completely free. It's called The Shift, and it's about really breaking down the nitty-gritty of self-love and what that means to you. And there's embodied practices and just talk, and it comes with this guided journal. Check it out if that speaks to you. All right, let's tap in with your chakras. It's time. Okay, definitely third eye and heart. The throat was speaking before. We have some sacral chakra as well. And some root. Yeah, we got a lot going on, guys. I'm telling you, this full moon has been wilder than I imagined. I knew it was going to be pretty deep, but I feel like it's one that maybe the eclipses were prepping us for, you know? And this full moon was kind of like this finality release. Not that you're never going to release anything again, but whatever it is that you've been specifically focused on. Again, if you don't know what I'm talking about, it was in 14 degrees of Aries, so find where that falls in your chart. Check out the full moon healing, okay? All right, so I'm going to focus in on this third eye first. And what I'm feeling here is whatever this is to you is blocking your third eye. So this could be self-doubt. This could be the way that we see ourselves, treat ourselves, speak to ourselves. It could be that we're getting big intuitive hits, but because we might be dysregulated and in survival mode, we might just be ignoring them or doubting our intuition. I think I'm just feeling highly stimulated, like I was saying before, like a very hypervigilant, like distracted energy that's coming from a place of survival, of needing to be in survival mode. Some of you quite literally are creating, please take this with love. Some of you quite literally are creating chaos around you or creating situations unintentionally. I'm not saying you're purposefully doing this, because your body is so used to being in survival mode that it doesn't know another way right now. It's very nervous system oriented, very body safe oriented. So I'm just focusing in on that third eye, and then I quickly want to come down to the heart. But just take a breath to soften your brow. And we're really going to consciously invite in our own internal higher self and universal wisdom. What we truly know, are authentic truths, which you can't necessarily say consciously, but your higher self knows and your body knows, right? So for some of you, you're getting like sorry, I'm a little back and forth on this one because I'm feeling this very distracted energy. If this is you or if this is around you, drop a comment down below and let me know. It's like I feel like I can't finish my sentences sometimes because I'm immediately pulled to another idea. So hold on a second, guys. Let me ground into this and sink back into the message. Okay. Thank you, thank you. See, I'm telling you, it doesn't take much time. You just breathe, you ground, you find who you are again. Some of you, the specific message is that things like somatic therapy, somatic release, embodied physical practices that help you to connect your body to your spirit, or your body to your heart, or even more simply, anything that helps you to just connect to your body more and start to ask it questions and listen to the answers, that I think that can be really, really beneficial for the collective right now and through the rest of the year. Because when we get heightened like this, and I feel it all up here, like right now, do you guys have your shoulders up at your ears? Like, take a moment to relax. Take a moment to relax. If we're constantly like this, and then we have all this stimulation around us, and we see the pain in the world, and we're very, highly sensitive, like the majority of you that follow this channel, and like me, I completely get it. If you're very empathic and you take on other people's emotions and you take on their physical ailments like I do, I completely understand that. We are so highly stimulated that we have to consciously choose to drop down into the body and to ground. We can't just wait for something to be over and then hope for the best. We have to consciously practice that amidst the perceived chaos or the actual chaos, that you can make the choice to come down and ground, and come down into self-love, and come down into sovereignty, and come down into authenticity. Yeah, it's always about choice, right? Like, I feel like I bring up choice in every single healing to some extent or from some angle. So now I'm going to focus in on the heart. Because there is a lot of pain being processed and released. There's a lot of anger and grief and sadness being processed and released right now in the collective. We all have it individually, and we're all doing it together. I'm bringing up this Queen of Pentacles again. She's grounded and practical, but she's still divine feminine. She's nurturing, right? She's patient. This is definitely something we want to embody, or something like viewing a guide in this way, or reminding ourselves that when we tap into God or spirit or the divine, that it's this kind of energy that helps you with practical purposes. Because I do believe a lot of us, these endings and beginnings are practical and material, their jobs, their moves, their financial situations, their relationships, their family oriented thing, all home, like, yeah, there's all sorts of things there. So I think that's why Pentacles are coming up as kind of that center of the old and the new sandwich here, the ending and the beginning sandwich, because it is, whatever is happening is affecting your daily life. It's affecting your health and your body and your routine. And that's another thing, is that the Pentacles do come down to the body. It's our meat suit, right? It's our material possessions. It's the things that we can touch around us. Okay. So I love that we have the combo of earth and water here, because the water really nourishes the earth, and the earth helps to ground the water when it's flowing out of control. Yeah, I'm feeling some really interesting little pings and zings coming back from that. Nice balance there. So yeah, this is great. All right, one more just little send off to the heart, giving it a lot of love. I'm feeling my crown open. Nice, guys. So as we take our final breath together, and by the way, I'm so curious about what your transitions are right now. Let me know in the comments below. What is this? What are these energies? What is your current Nine of Swords? I would love to hear. But as we take our final breath in together, I think I'd like to focus on the heart chakra. I'm going to focus on kind of a lush green. Feel free to focus on white crystalline light as always, if that's just a nice universal one for you. Yeah, for some of you, like they're even saying you can focus on like the color of earth if you're really in need of grounding. Interesting. Okay, cool. Do what you got to do. We're going to relax the body. When we breathe in, we're going to hold at the top and feel that color coming down through our crown, okay? So let's exhale and get all the air out. No forcing. Think soft muscles. Don't work too hard. Now big inhale in through the nose. Again, don't force. Hold it at the top. Feel that green or white or brown coming in. Filling up anywhere you need for it to fill up. Feel it cleanse, feel it ground, feel it nourish, feel it warm for some of you. Warmth, interesting. Warmth is needed, metaphorically and physically. Yeah. A week of integrating lessons this is. Now take a big exhale. Let's push out what doesn't serve us. Beautiful, guys. Beautiful. This is really deep and internal. I'm really picking up on some very tender emotion with you guys. So I know we're all going through some big stuff right now. As always, I will remind you that you're not alone. We are all in this together and working through things in a different way. We have slightly different stories, but energetically, we are so unified right now. So I want to give that reminder because I'm feeling this very, very overwhelming urge to remind everyone of that deep, unconditional love energy that we find when we tap into source or when we're in a deep meditation embodiment and all we see and feel is love. It's this heart coherence that I think is really, really important. I'm feeling this so much coming up through my throat as I'm saying this, and I'm feeling the heart starting to kind of tingle and dissipate outward and upward. It's really nice. Just a reminder of heart coherence. Now, for some of you, I think that could be really beneficial in terms of finding community, seeking community. And remember, community could just be one person. For others, it's about connecting more to the collective when you're meditating individually. So I know that we're all going through really, really deep things. We might be very, very big into survival mode, but what does it feel like if you drop into breath work or a meditation just for 60 seconds and just constantly, I meant to say consciously. That was interesting. We'll see if there was a message with that. That might have just been a slip up of my words, which I do. If we consciously just send love out to the world, nothing specific, but just really focus on emanating love, because I can guarantee, guys, this is a crucial step for it to come back to us tenfold. I think it's so easy for us to get bogged down by our own stuff. And I'm not saying your stuff isn't important. Please know I don't mean that. But there's something about when we feel the heaviness of our own stuff and our first choice is to go into sending love out, not by action, just energetically. Nothing that drains, nothing that forces, just feeling that true, deep, heart-centered love. And if you're like, Jess, that is hard for me to access. I don't know how to do that. That's fine. That is totally fine. You can take your time, sink into the self-love stuff more, because the more we do that, the more we can emanate it out and it just acts like osmosis. Or drop a comment or send me an email. I love discussing this stuff. Okay. But there's something about that I think will then come back and help a lot of our individual stories. Okay. Wow. Let's lock your energy up nice and tight into your solar plexus chakra. As always, we're never putting on armor or guarding, but we're saying what's mine is mine. What does not serve me, kindly stay out. It's a big week of release and integrating lessons, guys. That's what I'm feeling. So be kind to yourself, nourish. I'm feeling like hydration, salt, earth, breath, warmth. Yeah. Keep yourself warm. Do warm, nourishing things. Even in your food, can we nourish with warmth? I think a lot of us, that can help to ground a lot more. By warmth, I mean temperature. I don't mean spicy. Yeah, so if you're already feeling kind of fiery, maybe stay away from the spice. That's just my suggestion. I'm not a doctor, okay? I just know a lot of things that I'm nerdy about. All right, and remember, you always have the choice to take what I say or to throw it out the window or do whatever you want, because what you ultimately feel is right for you. And if you feel truly in your sovereignty and your authenticity and that this is a true act of self-love, amazing. Embody that Queen of Pentacles, guys. Embody it. Guys, wow, this was amazing. I would love to hear what's going on in your lives. Drop a story, drop a comment down below. I hope you'll like the video and subscribe to the channel if you haven't become a part of this amazing community of beautiful souls yet. Share with someone who you think this might support this week. It's really helpful with that unity consciousness energy. And then I already made a lot of announcements for equinox deals and all sorts of things, but check out my work down below if you're interested. I have free resources, and then I have one-on-one things, all sorts of things that you can claim if you're wanting to go on that self-love journey. Lastly, I'll say I do have my Reiki training, my 1 and 2 level virtual Reiki training, the first weekend in January, and the registration is now officially open on the website. So go ahead and look down below. If you don't know yet, you can always put your email on the wait list so I can just make sure that you're being informed if there's any developments there. But if you're feeling that call to Reiki, and I'm feeling a whole lot of solar plexus and throat when I'm saying this right now, so that's interesting. Maybe there's someone in here that's like, yes, I've been feeling the call. This is a great time. Around this time next year, I plan on doing a mastery retreat that will be in person. So this is such a great time for you to start that journey. If that's something that you're looking for to enrich your life, you know, you could go into it professionally, but enriching your life and, you know, your spiritual practice and just deepening into yourself. That's what it's about first and foremost. Okay. Lastly, thanks for sending in donations to those of you who do so. You guys are absolutely wonderful. As always, if you have any questions at all, shoot me an email. I love chatting and going deep with you guys. And I will see you in the next weekly healing for your next one. Love you guys so much.